I know you started producing music when you were 12. How did that come about,
Uh,
and how did you go from there?
my parents like bought me this small keyboard when I was a kid, just because it made noise, and kids like
Nah.
toys that make noise. And I was just like so fascinated by that keyboard. Like I would never stop playing it. So they quickly bought me headphones, which didn't help much with the noise, honestly, because I was just pounding. And so, like, I don't know what's better to listen to. It was like an electric drum kit, you know, where they have headphones and they're pounding the stick. It was like me doing that with my fingers. And so I just was always on it, trying to learn things by ear that I heard on TV
Hmm.
and radio, whatever. And I just started writing songs on the piano. That's like how I started. And then when I was 12, my dad had this software on his computer that was like the music notation, you know, software.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would click in the notes and play stuff and like produce like MIDI music, like instrumental music.
Sure.
That would that would probably be similar to the 12-year-old version of what I do now, like kind of cinematic, you know what I mean? Like just video game music or background score music or whatever. I would make CDs of all this music and sell them at my school and at my church and like all my friends. Like I would just like, I started selling albums and starting this like thing, and it just kind of was growing over time, you know, just being known as like being known synonymously with music. You know what I mean? The
Mm.
music guy. And I worked hard at that. So like if people needed a piano player or music for something, you know, you want to be the first person that someone thinks of to ask.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was staying busy with doing stuff like that. Yeah, and I've always done that. I've always just produced my own music, and I used to travel with a band, and like we toured and we did that for 12 years. But still I only produced my own music during this time. I just didn't even think about producing other people for some reason.
Sure.
And then once I started having kids and it was hard for me to travel as much, um, I built a studio. Me and my wife were like, what if I tried to like record other people's music? That's something I never tried. And then that's like when things really started like taking off. And so I just started my own little business in my basement producing in this home studio. You know what I
That's amazing. Do you often
mean?
have artists coming into your studio, or do you send them the tracks and they record in their own studio, or how does that typically work?
Yeah, almost always they're here in the room. I have a mic right next to me and everyone likes to stand there. I used to have a vocal booth and then no one used it. Like no one no one wanted to go into a separate room where they couldn't see you. And so when
Hmm.
I built this studio, I didn't even put a vocal booth in it because no one uses them really anymore, you know? So
You know, it's funny you say that because I've been noticing that, especially like in like these live recordings where like you get footage of these artists in these studios, and I'm like, why isn't anybody in a vocal booth? And I'm like, or they're recorded in
they're right
hotel
in the
rooms or
room.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah, they're right in the room next to the desk, and you just put headphones on, and you know they have the shields of foam
yeah,
around the mic. That does wonders. Like that actually works really well. So
yeah.
that's what everyone does. Any home studio here, I'm in Nashville, right? And so any home studio of a producer you go to, you'll see their desk and their speakers, and then you'll see a mic right next to the desk.
It's pretty
That's how
amazing,
that's
man.
how
It's
people do it now. So, yeah, it's
yeah,
awesome.
it's the industry's changing for sure.